All right, guys, that time of year again. Lucky enough for me, I'm heading out in a couple weeks to go on an Alaska caribou hunt. So I figured what we do today, bring in all the gear that I'm gonna take and show you what we got in our pack this year. So super lucky to be doing this hunt. It's going to be kind of a hybrid. We will have a truck, but we're gonna be backpacking into certain areas. So what I've got here is gear primarily for backpack hunting, but also we've got some provisions back at the truck. So I'm gonna walk you through everything kind of top to bottom that I'm gonna take, and let's get started. All right, so what we've got here, this is about how I'm gonna show up at the airport. So I'm gonna have a locking weapon case with my bow in it. I'm gonna check my my backpack with a bunch of stuff in it. And then I've got a Yeti Pango 100 on the side here that's also gonna have some of my other like extra clothing and a tarp and things like that that I'm not gonna place in my primary backpack. So this is about how we'll show up. 3 checked bags, and then I'm gonna have a backpack with me to take on the plane. I'm gonna have my computer, phone charger, camera, probably my binoculars in there, just to keep some of that important stuff close. Okay, so why don't we dive into the weapon. This is the Matthews Lift X. Obviously, it's my first year shooting this. I've been shooting a V3 for the last few years, but got this earlier this summer, and so far, really excited about this bow. This will be my first hunt out with it. So Matthews Lift X, I've got the dialed proof on top, which is a slider. It's gonna be my first hunt shooting that as well, but I really like it so far. I've been shooting it great this summer, and I like that it locks, and I also really like that there's a sight tape on both sides. So really excited to get the bow out. I got my Spot Hog Wise Guy release here. This is a hook style release that stays on your wrist. So I've been shooting this for probably 10 or 12 years. And I really like this style of release, and yeah, that's what I'm taking for a release. All right, so for my arrows, I've got the Matthews Low Pro quiver. I like this whole system is integrated, so between the stabilizers, the sight, the quiver, it's all integrated right into that Matthews riser. So that's what I'm gonna be taking. I've got the gold tip pierces here, and I'm gonna be shooting a Rage hypodermic on the front. So pretty deadly setup, and I hope I get to use it. And then the last thing on the weapon front, since we will be in bear country, I've got my trusty Glock 20. This is a 10 millimeter. I'm gonna be shooting a 200, well, hopefully not shooting, a 200 grain HSM lead tip. I'm taking this because I'm hunting with Omar, and he's definitely faster than I am, so I figure I better be the one with the Glock. I also just don't like the idea of a bear coming into camp while I'm sleeping or anything, so I'll keep that next to me at night, and that'll make me sleep a little better. So that's what I'm taking for the weapon setup. That's all gonna go in this case, and we're gonna check it at the airport. Hopefully it shows up with us when we land. Next up is my pack and everything in it. We get a lot of questions about how things are packed and how to pack a backpack. So what I figured we'd do today is we'd kind of work backwards from what's in here. This is everything I'm gonna be taking minus some food, minus some extra layers, which I've got in here, so we'll just have to use our imaginations with how that's gonna fit in the pack. But for starters, I've got the Kifaru Hoodlum. This was redesigned for 2025. The reason I'm going with the Kifaru Hoodlum is that I will be taking a tent and a spotting scope, and so I really like that you have these 2 bigger pockets on either side. So you can put the spotter in this side like I've got it, tent in this side, and I feel like that really balances the weight out. So I'm really excited to get this pack out, give it a try, and see how we like it. Right off the bat, I've got my sleeping bag on the bottom. A lot of people will put them on the sides. A lot of people will take them out of the stuff sack and kind of just push them into the bottom of their backpack so that it can take up kind of free space around the bottom. What I really like to do is put it in a compression sack, but not cinch the compression down too much. I like to put it in the compression sack, strap it onto the bottom of the backpack, and that way I can save a lot of the space within the pack for the items that I need in there. So the only caveat is if it's wet, you want to make sure you have a rain cover or something that will go around it, but otherwise this is my preferred way of carrying my sleeping bag. So the sleeping bag I'm taking is the Stone Glacier Chilkoot down bag. Take it out of here. I've had this bag for a few years now. It's just awesome, super warm, super light, very fluffy, and when you crawl in at night, I just sleep really well with it. So this is my preferred bag. I love this bag. I have nothing but good things to say about it. So that's what I'm gonna be sleeping with. To keep going, let's go through the side pockets. So in this side pocket, I've got an angled spotting scope from Vortex, and I've also got a Helinox chair. I think this is gonna be a hack while we're up there. It's gonna be really flat. We're gonna be spending a lot of time out away from the truck. So this little chair weighs like less than 2 pounds, maybe less than 1 pound, I'm not exactly sure, but it packs down to almost nothing, and it can share this pocket here, so I can fit both of them in here, so I can sit up off the ground. I'm really excited about that. And then it's worth mentioning, I've got an all-in digiscoping system that I'm gonna put on this spotting scope so that I can take photos and videos and things like that. So that's what I'm gonna put in this side pocket. And on the other side pocket, I'm keeping my tent, which I'll pull out here in a second. Keep these kind of at the ready. This is wet wipes. I'm gonna be taking more than that, and then toilet paper. So my kind of philosophy on that is to go big. Don't wanna run out of that type of stuff. So this is, I'm gonna keep it right there as well. Hopefully I don't need it super urgently, but I will have it there if I need it. Okay, next up is my tent. This is a Big Agnes rattlesnake 2-person. I know they make new models of something very similar, but I've had this for probably 15 years. Spent a lot of nights in it, and I feel like the 2-person size is really good for 1 person with their gear, especially if you want to keep it out of the elements. So it's got a vestibule, but I've also got some more space within the actual tent if I want to keep my optics, if I want to keep my camera, if I want to keep anything like that inside the tent. I've got some room, and then my pack, other things can stay on the outside. So I've had this forever. Like I said, it's a really good tent. It only weighs a couple pounds, and it fits really nicely in the side pocket there. Okay, and the last thing I keep in here is my water filtration system. I don't like having to dig around for this, and so I do have some Nalgene bottles I'm gonna take, as well as a couple platypus reservoirs. I prefer using bottles, but these reservoirs are nice in case you really need to fill up on water, and then they obviously kind of pack or fold down into pretty much nothing. So I'll be taking those. I don't like the idea that they can pop within the pack. Haven't had it happen yet, but it is a possibility. So I do throw them in, kind of no reason not to. And then I keep this for my dirty water, which you put through the platypus. This is called the quick draw system. So the reason I like the quick draw, I used a Sawyer squeeze for years, and I felt like I was always kind of reefing on that thing, and I actually popped one of those dirty water bladders, and so it's kind of hard when it's popped to then put enough pressure to push water through the Sawyer squeeze. So I made the switch to this platypus quick draw. The flow on this is really, really good. It's tiny, as you can see. So I did that last year, really happy to have done that. So that's what I'm gonna be taking for water. We'll also have water at the truck when we get there. So this is kind of more in case of emergency, or if we're spending a few more days out there than we thought we would. All right, so let's get into the main compartment of the bag. One of the other things I like about this is you can zip it all the way open. So you can kind of get in there with whatever you need. And also if you have meat or anything you need to put inside the bag, zips all the way wide open. So in this bag, I've got my glassing pad. This is just a foam GOHUNT glassing pad. I've got trekking poles, and I'll use these for, obviously it's the marsh, it's kind of spongy is what we've been told, so getting another point of contact, and also these can double up if we need to set up our tarp. So I'm gonna be taking those trekking poles. These are ones from GOHUNT that we make. And then I've got the Tracer AD tripod to use with this spotting scope, and a Tracer pan head on top. So the reason I went with the AD over something smaller is that, like I said, it's going to be pretty flat. And so this is a little bit heavier than some of the smaller models, but I will be able to stand and glass with this, which I would prefer on this more like on a flatter hunt like this. So I used this last year as well. I really like this setup. It's smooth. I can stand up with my spotting scope. So nothing but good things to say about this one as well. Okay, Rainfly, gotta have it in Alaska. Goal Zero solar panel, so a lot of sun up there. I think we're only going to see a couple hours of darkness per night. So what I'll probably do is leave this out and connect it to one of my charging banks, so I'm always kind of refilling. And then I can use maps, I can watch Netflix at night, I can do whatever I want there. Moving on, this is my kill kit. I keep this in the bottom. I keep my kill kit pretty simple. I got garbage bags. I put a lot of Ziploc bags in here just because I like to put cut meat, I like to put tenderloins. If I can fit back straps in these gallon ones, I'll put them in there. And I feel like that, otherwise when you throw them in the game bag, they kind of dry out, and then you have to cut a bunch off and you end up losing a bunch of meat. So I like to put Ziplocs in here. Also, again, since it's grizzly country, gloves, anything like that that needs to kind of be scent controlled, I'll put them in here. Makes me sleep a little better at night. I'm not sure if it actually helps, but it does make me sleep a little better. So rubber gloves, knife sharpener, some GOHUNT game bags. I've got the Havalon Paranta, which is a scalpel blade knife with a handful of extra blades. This thing weighs pretty much nothing. Super sharp, A little too sharp at times. I've got a few stitches from these in the past, but really good knife. And then say what you want. I've got the Outdoor Edge swing blaze. I absolutely love this knife. You basically, in every part of the animal, you can make one incision. You flip this bad boy around, you just zip right up. So this is actually, you can make pretty quick work of an animal with one of these. I do keep the sharpener with it because it'll lose its edge reasonably fast, but that's what I'm taking for a knife. Use this on a bunch of animals, and I really like it. Keeping going through the pack, I'm gonna go through my first aid kit. I don't claim to be a professional at first aid, but since we're gonna be a ways from civilization, I'm kind of going big this year on first aid, or at least for me, it's a little more buttoned up than in years past. So I keep it all in this bag. I'll go through it real quick. So this is, and by the way, most of this, probably half of this stuff you can get through one of the My Medic kits that we have in the gear shop. So I went through mine, pulled out a bunch of the stuff I thought was relevant. I don't want to take the full big kit because that's a little bit overkill, but I do think I have enough in here to save my life, save Omar's life in case anything happens. So first of all, this is a finger splint. I'm prone to cutting and breaking fingers, so got to bring one of those. Before you hit the comments, I do have a tourniquet. Self-admit that I need to really figure out how to use this. Hopefully I don't have to. So step one is having it. Step two is figuring out how to use it. I do need to do that before I leave, but I do have it. Okay, some emergency pressure bandage. If you get a big gash or anything like that, need to plug something up and apply pressure. I got one of those. It weighs nothing, takes up zero space. Some kind of quick clot, bleeding stop. If you really cut yourself hard, I think you just pour this stuff in the wound and it kind of clots up and may save your life. So definitely bring one of those. Tons of Band-Aids of different sizes, why not? Z-zips, if you do get a gash, you can put them on either side and put a zip tie through it, and then you can pull those zip ties closed, and that's gonna close the gash up. Wound closure mod, this is wound closure strips and then glue, so super glue can be really handy, especially when you get a wound closed up. Put some super glue on it, kind of acts like a fresh layer of skin. Some gauze, some blister pads. Nothing can ruin a hunt faster than, well, almost nothing can ruin a hunt faster than blisters. I am prone to blisters, which we'll talk about with these boots, but taking a few blister pads. These are, I think, for people who wear high heels. You can get them at Walgreens. They're called Compede, but these are amazing for blister prevention. And I've got some Leukotape in another bag here. I'll show you. And then antiseptic wipes, allergy medicine, and then another bag, I've got some Tylenol PM. So that's what I'm taking for first aid. Don't claim to be an expert, but if you think I'm missing anything, please let us know in the comments and we'll add it before we go. Moving on to power bank. You can get these on Amazon. You can get a Dark Energy from the GOHUNT shop. I like to go big on these as well. Since we will have the truck, I'll leave a few at the truck, but I like to have plenty of phone juice, so I'm taking a handful of those. Okay, so just to round out my sleep setup, this is the AXL Air from Big Agnes. Not the most comfortable pad, but it is the smallest and lightest one I think I've ever seen. So that's kind of a trade-off that sometimes I'm willing to make. I'm still pretty young, so I've been sleeping on this for a few years. It's super, super light, so that's what I'm taking for a sleeping pad. And then the Climate X pillow. Again, this is not the most comfortable pillow out there, but I do love that it's about that big. You throw it in, you don't even notice, and then you pull it out at night and sleep pretty good. Okay, and then up on top, I forget what they call this pouch, but this is where I'm gonna keep items that if I absolutely need them, I know right to go here. So for me, those are Peaks headlamp. This is a Zoleo satellite communication device. We will probably be without service, so I'll actually keep this clipped on the outside of my pack, but for the sake of travel, I'm going to put it in there. Definitely want to have something like this just in case of emergency. If you have loved ones back at home, you can contact them, let them know that you're doing okay, let them know you got Caribou down or anything like that. So definitely recommend having something like that in your pack. Garmin makes them, there's a bunch of different options. And then the last couple things up in here, zip ties. I'm not going to take this many zip ties, but good to have them. Never know why. And then toothbrush and a little miniature toothpaste. And I put this in a Ziploc bag because, again, we'll be in grizzly country. I just don't want the mint flavor of this toothpaste out in the wind inviting a grizzly. That's my biggest fear, is a grizzly coming in while I'm sleeping. So put it in a Ziploc bag, keep it right there. Keep your teeth nice and white. All right, and the last thing we'll talk about here is my Possibles pouch. Again, these are little like gear bag cells that we sell at GOHUNT. We have small, medium, and large. So I like to keep things in here just to keep it a little more organized. But this is gonna be some random things that I think I'll need. And I think, as John Barklow would say, he recommends, don't be afraid to break the seal. This stuff is here for you to use. So I recommend getting in there and using it. First is earplugs. I know Omar snores at night, so I don't know how close we'll be camping together, but bring in some earplugs. Leuco tape. I'm gonna actually end up wrapping this around my trekking poles, but like I said, I am really prone to blisters, and so this is the best tape I've ever found for sticking to your skin and preventing blisters. So I've had times where I basically make myself a whole sock out of Leuco tape. It'll stay there forever. You'll peel it off in the shower when you get home. So tons and tons of Leuco tape. Kind of go big with that one because I don't want to lose a hunt to blisters. Paracord. I don't envision there being any trees out there for us to string stuff up to, but if we get caribou meat back to the camp, or if we need to do anything like that, to hang it, to cool it off, whatever, good to have some paracord. Some salt electrolyte tablets. I don't usually take these, but it's good to have. I think if you have a headache, probably pop a few of those. Some Tylenol PM. This is basically to make me fall asleep at night. I don't really take them for pain relief, but I don't sleep well in the backcountry. And so I'll pop a few of these before I go to bed. Those will help me sleep. Gear aid, this is just to patch anything you need. So if you get a tear in your rain jacket, if you get a tear in your down, if you get a tear in your tent, we had to seal up a tent last year. These are just super, super strong, adhere to anything. So I keep a bunch of that stuff in here. Here's more of it. Here's more of it. Pretty serious about that. And then a windproof lighter. So this is by Pyro Putty. These are rechargeable as well. So I like them for that reason. I like them because they're not going to get wet, and if they do get wet, they'll still make a flame. So you can plug them in with a USB-C. You can also put a little fire starter down here. We're not really going to have much to burn up there, but to start your jet boil or anything like that, pretty handy, and it kind of always turns on. So that's good. All right, so that's what I've got in my possibles pouch. That's another one where everyone, I think, takes a little bit different stuff. So if you feel strongly that we're missing something in here, let people know in the comments who are reading. All right, so next up is everything else, and that's gonna be clothing, that's gonna be my tarp. I'll walk you guys through all that, but it's all going in a Yeti Panga, which this is the 100-liter size. So on the last video we did that had a Panga, some people were asking, how do you make sure that this doesn't open up while you're flying? So I did want to show you, this has a little cuff on the back here that the zipper basically locks into. So a lot of people see the zipper and think that might come open. If you really wanted to zip tie it to the handle or something, you could. But I'll show you how when you pull it over, I'm hitting that locking mechanism right now. You give it a little extra pull and it locks that zipper into place. So that zipper's not going anywhere. You do have to kind of reef on it to get it open. So I hope that alleviates some concerns of traveling and having this thing open up, because I really don't think it's opening up. But the other point I would make is once you do that, it's airtight, it's watertight. There's nothing kind of getting in or out of there. So these things are pretty darn bomb-proof in terms of traveling with gear that you want to protect. All right, so I'll walk you through my clothing next. What's important to note, since we will, like I said, we will have the truck. So this is kind of going over my system, but I'll bring more than one piece of a lot of these. But I do just want to show you kind of the gear that I am going to take. So my philosophy is pretty simple, especially on top. It's a base layer, mid layer, puffy, and a rain shell. And I feel like that system, don't overcomplicate it. That's worked well for me in the past. Make sure that you have enough to keep warm. But other than that, that's pretty much what I roll with. So I'll walk you through that, and I'll walk you through what I'm doing on bottom. So I'm gonna take a couple different tops. I'm a merino fan because it doesn't stink, it's warm. I really like the GOHUNT merino. So this is the GOHUNT Basin merino hoodie. This is 160 GSM merino blend. So it's strong, it's stretchy, it's moisture wicking, and it doesn't stink. So we'll be out there for a few days. I don't want to be the guy that smells bad in camp, so that's what I'm going to be wearing. And then I am going to take as well, this is the GOHUNT Approach Light hoodie, and by the time this video goes live, we'll be within days of putting these live on the site. So if you like the Approach hoodie, which is what I'm wearing, this is the Approach Light. It's about 40% lighter, so it's a synthetic hoodie, dries really fast. It's going to be available in this gray, and then our other, our more green pattern called a cambium. So I really like this hoodie. I've been wearing it, I've been running in it, been working out in it. I think it's going to be a staple for me. It's, like I said, it's a lot lighter. So in early season hunts, I'm going to be wearing this. So this will be what I'm wearing if we're hunting to and from the truck, because it does dry faster, but the merino is what I'm going to be wearing if we're out backpacking in. Next is my mid layer. Kind of wear these all day. This is the GOHUNT, again, the GOHUNT Atmosphere jacket. This is a nylon ripstop exterior with a Primaloft insulation on the inside. So this is meant to be worn while you're moving. So it's really warm to the touch. It's not a heavy jacket, but it is warm to the touch. So I like to put it on in the mornings. It'll kind of take the bite off if it's cold in the morning, and then it's thin enough that while you're moving, it'll breathe, it'll let heat out. You can unzip it if you need to. But we came out with this earlier this year. It's been a huge hit. I'm a huge fan. And so this is what I'm gonna be taking kind of as a mid-layer, and I'll be living in this jacket most of the day. Next is something we've been working on for a long time. This is still a prototype, but this is the GOHUNT down jacket. Gonna be taking this, giving lots of feedback on it, but we've been making a bunch of changes to this jacket and we're getting really close. So I'm gonna be taking this one. Really excited about this jacket as well. We've had a lot of people asking, so hang on guys, it's coming. We're just making sure it's as good as we can before we let it out. And same thing on top here, this is GOHUNT rain gear. So this is going to be hopefully not worn a ton, but if I need it, it's there. It packs down to almost nothing. I will probably end up keeping this in that side pocket of my Kifaru backpack because once I take the tent out, or if we're hunting from the truck, I'll leave it in that side pocket so it's there if I need it. I can just grab it. That's typically the way I like to do that. So GOHUNT prototype rain jacket that we've been working on for a while as well. All right, let's go to what I'm gonna be wearing on the bottom, starting with underwear. So this is a synthetic blend from Under Armour. I've had these forever. I don't really like to overcomplicate underwear, but I got these for working out in probably 6 or 8 years ago, and I really like them. And so I know that they work for me. I know I'm not gonna chafe. I know that they're gonna dry quickly, so I'm not gonna overcomplicate that. I just got a bunch of pairs of these that I'm gonna be taking. But my advice, same with Trail's advice, is find a pair that you like. I'll buy a whole bunch of pairs of those. All right, next up is the pants. These are a pair of GOHUNT lightweight hunting pants. This is a prototype color, so these are coming very soon, guys. Probably late August, early September is when we're hoping to actually have them in the gear shop, but we've been working on these for a really long time. And what we're trying to do with these is set out to make a really good early season lightweight hunting pant, early to mid-season, depending on how active you're being. So I think we've done a really good job. We've really put a lot of effort into how they fit, how they function, the materials, etc. And so that's what we're going with. These is just a prototype color. The final color is going to be gray on gray. Then we're going to have another color coming not too far after that. But they've got a side zip that I really like. They've got a little more taper through the knee and calf, so they're not baggy. You're not kind of swishing around as you're walking. So it's got 2 front pockets, got a little part for your knife here, and then 2 bigger pockets on the thighs, as well as if you use a handhold release or anything like that, you can put your calls or release or anything in there. And then we do have a rear pocket as well. Kind of a reinforced butt, reinforced knees, then reinforcement down here where a lot of times your boots will cut those up or something like that. So overall, stoked to wear these pants, stoked to bring them to you guys. And like I said, hang tight because they're coming soon. And then the last 2 items should look pretty much identical to what you saw on top. This is the GOHUNT rain pants we're working on, lightweight, zippable, so you can put them on and off without taking your boots off. Got a little clip here on the bottom. But what we tried to do with these pants, again, there's 1 zipper on the front as well for your phone, but what we're trying to do with these pants, make them waterproof, make them collapsible so that they're kind of there when you need them and you don't notice when you don't need them. So no brainer to throw those in. Hope I'm not wearing them too much, but at least I will have them if I do. And then the last thing, the GOHUNT down pants. So I don't think it's gonna be super cold. These might end up staying at the truck if it's not super cold. I generally don't wake up and put my down pants on in the morning unless I'm gonna go somewhere and it's gonna be really cold and we're gonna be glassing. So that is an option, but we'll see kind of when we get there how much use these pants get. But they're a down pant. They've got a reinforced butt for waterproofness. They've got zips on the sides if you're gonna be active, or you can, again, put them on without taking your boots off or anything like that. And then they've got a little waterproof reinforcement down here. If there is a little snow, you don't have to worry about necessarily putting a gaiter on unless you're up over basically the shin. So that's a nice little waterproof touch that we've added there. Last few things on my clothing. Some GOHUNT gloves. You can see, again, the theme here. We're really testing a lot of this stuff, prototyping it out. These are coming soon, probably my best guess would be October right now. But it's kind of a mid-weight glove, leather with a little sensor so I can use my phone still. Again, I don't anticipate it being super, super cold on this hunt, so I more have these in case we're sitting for a long time and it does get cool, or in case a breeze comes up or anything like that, but I'm not taking a super heavy pair of gloves on this hunt. And then up top, we got the GOHUNT beanie. For when it is cold, I like to sleep in a beanie. And then for the mosquitoes, we are taking face nets. And we're not exactly sure. It seems like it can be kind of hit or miss on whether you get hit hard by mosquitoes or not. So I think nothing probably would ruin a hunt faster than not having one of these. think I've said that a few times. A lot of things can ruin a hunt, but we're going to take these, keep them over our heads, keep the mosquitoes off of us, because I have a feeling this hunt's going to be a lot of sitting and looking for animals. So we'll be able to sit still, not worry about the mosquitoes. Okay, moving on to footwear. It just so happened that both of these are from Lacrosse, more of a coincidence than anything, but these are the Ursa boots from Lacrosse. I believe it's their first real stab at a Western hunting boot. They're a Gore-Tex boot. I really like these. I've taken these on a bunch of hunts. Wore them sheep hunting last year. You can tell by all the Leuco tape and blister pads I'm prone to blistering, and I've tried a half dozen pairs of boots recently, and these are the only ones that didn't give me blisters, so they're really comfortable. They're also, I think, a solid price point. I think they're $250, and that's really solid for a Gore-Tex hunting boot. So I've been really excited about these boots. Excited to take them again, and I didn't get it in time, but I will be taking a Graxaw boot dryer. It's a little battery-powered rechargeable boot dryer. I have high hopes that I can keep my feet dry for some of the hunt at least, so I will be taking those. We'll see how it shakes out. I know it's going to be wet up there, but that's what I'm going to be taking for my primary pair of boots. These are the GOHUNT midweight merino socks. Love them. Going to be probably taking a half dozen pairs of these, but they got a little padding to come up over the calf. So, I'm sorry, to the calf. So, really great buy there. And then last, when we're at the truck or around town or anything, I'm planning on taking these deck boots. I don't know exactly what they're called, but these are from Lacrosse as well. They're waterproof. They come up a little bit higher over the ankles. So I imagine it'll be kind of boggy out there. So that's what I'm going to be probably rolling around in at camp, in town, things like that. The last few items I have, working on a pair of gaiters from GOHUNT. This is a prototype color, so settle down. They're not going to be blue if we come out with them, but we're wanting to make a lightweight gaiter that fits well. So I'm going to be taking this, giving some feedback on it. It's got an adjustable / removable strap. Like I said, they're really lightweight. You just roll them up, throw them in your pack. They're not super bulky, but something we've been working on for probably the better part of a year. Looking forward to actually taking them out. Next is my tarp. And so tarps, I think, are potentially an underused item in hunting. And so this is a GOHUNT Dyneema tarp. We're working on a separate tarp that's going to be a little more compressible and a little bit better, a little bit more friendly price point. Dyneema is an expensive material, but I like Dyneema because it's windproof, it's waterproof, it's stretch proof. It's just a really solid material. Now, the downside to Dyneema, as you can see, is it doesn't compress well. So I have this in here just for the sake of flying, but what I will do is when we get there, I will actually take the tarp out. I'll fold it up. You don't want to fold it, you don't want to crease it. Dyneema shouldn't be creased, but I'll fold it up, and then I'm actually going to put it in between the bag and the frame on my Kifaru pack. I'm going to keep it in that load shelf so it flattens down, takes up no space, and it's right there when you need it. I had to do that in Wyoming last year. I had to pull it out when a windstorm came in, or I'm sorry, when a rainstorm came in. So this is a GOHUNT tarp. I would recommend getting a tarp if you're going to be out on an extended hunt like this, because the rain could move in, it could just be super hot, and you need somewhere to create a little shade. So pretty versatile piece, and then if you ever need to, you can throw meat on it to keep it clean if you're taking care of an animal. So like I said, this is gonna get kind of folded and put in between my pack and the frame, so it won't be this kind of bigger, bulkier item in my pack. Last couple of items, Thermacell, like I said, gonna be tons of mosquitoes. Taking a fly rod up there. We know, we got good word that there's some grayling in those rivers, so to kill time, to catch dinner, just to do whatever, I'm gonna take a fly rod with a handful of dry flies, see if I can catch some surf to make surf and turf if we get a caribou, but we'll be taking a fly rod. I've got room in my case down here, so I'll throw it in there. Like I said, leave it at the truck, and then whip it out and show these boys how to catch some fish if we need to. Optics, I feel like I covered all the optics but my bino harness and my rangefinder and binos, so let's go over that real quick. This is a marsupial bino harness with the rangefinding pouch. I keep it on the left side because I'm left-handed, and since we're doing an archery hunt, I will be rocking the old SIG Zulu 6 image stabilizing binos. These are the 16x42s, so they will reach out there quite a ways, and used them all of last season, just super impressed with them. And then what I do have here is a adapter. This is made by Tracer. It goes right on the tripod I showed you earlier. So some people don't think you need the binocular adapter for your tripod because these are stabilized. I would disagree with that if you're going to be out all day, because even though they are stabilized, you still would have to hold them up to your head all day. So I put the adapter on there. I just leave it on there because it still slides in and out of the bino harness just fine. But it's hard to beat these on a tripod, even though they are stabilized. So I would think about something like that if you're gonna be doing an extended hunt like we are. And then to the side here, I've got my rangefinder. I prefer rangefinding binoculars, just to be honest, but that's for rifle hunting, for archery hunting. I want to be able to just hop in this pocket, grab my rangefinder. This is a Vortex Viper 3000 rangefinder. So I prefer to just have that at the ready in case I need to range it. Gets a little weird trying to range something with rangefinding binoculars in an archery environment. So this is what I'm going to keep right here at all times, and I'm really excited about this setup. Okay, last couple items. Some tin foil and some spices. Like I said, if we catch some fish and want to make it for dinner, I'll be chefing it up for the guys. So that's what I'm going to be taking there. GOHUNT titanium spork. Not too proud to say that we will be at a truck. This is a window mount. I've had this for a couple years, but this is a window mount for my spotting scope. So if we do see something from the road, want to get a better look at it, throw it on here. Be glad to have it if we need it. A few other miscellaneous things. This is the Jetboil Stash. This is a really small titanium stove. We did a burn test earlier this year, and I think this one came out to be the most well-rounded between burn time, capacity, fuel consumption, etc. So I've had this for a while. It packs down to darn near nothing. The actual burner is inside of here. There's a fuel canister inside of here. You can't fly with these, but just wanted to show you that fits inside. So we'll need to buy some of these when we get up there. So that's what I'm going to be taking to actually heat up water. And then I just wanted to show you a couple things, and you can kind of multiply this for the days, but probably be taking mainly freeze-dried food, and then we'll stop before we head out and get some goodies just to keep in the truck. But kind of a random combination. We'll take some Peak refills, some Mountain House, kind of one per day of that type of stuff. That fills you up pretty good. So that's what I'll have in the pack for that. I like to keep drink mix, electrolytes, that type of thing. I don't actually know if it enhances performance or not, but it can be nice to have some flavored water or a stick of electrolytes just to give you a little boost, and then got some instant coffee here. So from a food perspective, that's more or less what I'm gonna be taking. Try to hit about 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day, depending on how much we're moving, and that's what that's gonna look like. Okay, last two things before we wrap up. Three things: pair of sunglasses. I think it's gonna be sunny 20 hours of the day. Amazon Kindle. This thing I think weighs 8 ounces. It's going to be light all day, every day. So having something to keep your mind occupied if you're not seeing caribou. I've been bringing these on all my backpack hunts for quite a few years now, and it just keeps, like I said, keeps my mind occupied, keeps me kind of in the game, gets you through some of those boring midday sessions where nothing's really happening. You can download basically as many books as you want to one of these, so I highly recommend it. I think these are really, really a good tool for keeping you in it. All right, last but not least, I have it on good word that a decoy is actually an interesting thing to take. I've decoyed antelope before, and I've understand that this can be similar to antelope hunting, where you're just out in the nothingness and trying to sneak up on a caribou. So we'll see what happens here, but I've got a Montana decoy of not the biggest caribou ever, but got a Montana decoy if we need to try closing some distance with one of these. We'll definitely give it a try and see how it works if we need to, but probably better to have it and not need it, or to give it a try, than to just walk right up and blow a stock. So we've got that one that we'll be taking with us. And then I've never used one of these. I'm kind of have mixed feelings about it, but I will take it just in case we think we need to use it. But this basically has Velcro on it, and it attaches to your bow, and then you draw back. You can see through this opening in the middle. You can let it rip and try and use that to get closer. So again, I've never used one like this. I've seen people use it with kind of mixed results, but we're gonna take it. We'll see if we use it, see if it comes in handy or not. If you've used it, let us know in the comments how you like it, but we'll have them up there. And like I said, we're anticipating it's gonna be pretty flat. So if we need to use one of these to try and get closer, we will do that. So I think that about wraps it up, guys. I'm pretty excited to get out there and give them a try. I've never been to Alaska before. This will be my first time. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, or if you think we're missing anything, please leave us comments below. We'll be happy to get back to you when we can. And good luck this season. Thanks.